Welcome to 100 Clues. The Philippines is the ancient land of gold known as Ophir in the Bible and history. No, it's no fable, and this has already been proven in full in the God Culture's Solomon's Gold series. At the request of many viewers, we have pulled out 100 clues from this research, in which we will be highlighting briefs of the most compelling points, and yes, there are over 100. If you haven't seen the previous ones, go back and watch those too, because they're all compelling and they all work together. These videos are for those who have not had time to watch Solomon's Gold series, which is much longer, of course, because that's our journey of proof as researchers. And that's going to make this easy to share with friends, families, even skeptics. This brief video cannot replace that 50 video series, nor prove the way that it does, and we do not intend to. But this will be very effective nonetheless. So go there for full evidence, Solomon's Gold series. But now, Part 3 of our series 100 Clues. The Philippines is Ophir, the ancient land of gold, one clue at a time. Did you know this? Gold jewelry of Philippine origin has been found in 1st century Egypt? How did that get there? You'll note the sources on every slide all the way through this series, making it easy for you to confirm. So go ahead, prove all things, confirm everything we say. We hope that you will. So how did this gold get there? Well, you will know by the end of this series, because the Philippines had ancient ships that are going to blow your mind. History does not dabble in saying the Philippines is the ancient land of gold at all. It comes right out and records such as fact, not speculation, fact. The neighbors of the Philippines well knew. Take a look. The Greeks, of course, we covered, called it the Golden One, islands of gold and silver. The Indians, yes, this was their source of gold as well, called it Island of Gold. The Chinese called it Isles of Gold, Isle of Gold, Mountains of Gold, and Golden Neighbor. Do you think maybe they knew where the gold was? Yeah, it wasn't in China. It was in the Philippines. That was the leader, by far, from the most ancient of times. Medieval Muslims arrived in the Philippines, and they called this the land of gold. And we will even cover in another video, because it's going to take more time, we're not going to get into it, but even the Malaysians, when asked by explorer Duarte Barbosa, where was Ophir? Well, they did not lead him to Mount Ophir in Malaysia, fraudulently named by the British in 1801. That's a little late to try to make a claim, wouldn't you think? After they already lost the debate, actually, as the sole detractor from the facts that label the Philippines as Ophir in history over and over. And those are facts, by the way. We'll cover many of them throughout this series. See, it wasn't their territory, the British, so they just wouldn't give up. And since they did win the war with Spain, eventually especially through America, and that was when they most heavily wiped out the well-known, well-recorded history that actually went all the way up until 1891. The Philippines was recorded as Ophir. And now, where did it go? We'll tell you where it went. They attempted to wipe it out, but that history is all still there, and we'll show it to you and you'll see for yourself. In fact, those local natives refused in Malaysia to use the British name and still reject that to this day. Why? Because they know better. See, the Malays gave Barbosa those directions he asked for to Ophir, and we'll show you We'll even map it out. It led to northwest Luzon Island, Philippines. This really isn't even something one can debate. A Chinese manuscript of the 3rd century AD records that there were ships arriving in China from different foreign ports. These ships were believed to be Southeast Asian and sailed by Southeast Asian seamen. It is asserted that by the 3rd century, Filipinos were sailing to Funan on the southern tip of Indochina. The Chinese did not have ocean-going ships until after the 8th century. That's 500 years after the Philippines already arrived and was trading in China. Hello? Who ruled the seas back then? Really not questionable, is it? By the year 982, Philippine ships were repeatedly calling on ports in southern China. It is presumed that the initial contact with China was the Filipino seamen sailing a Filipino ship, oh, not Chinese, and not an Arab vessel either, as was previously claimed in error, of course. It was between 10th and 11th centuries that the Arab traders were able to achieve prominence in the Southeast Asian trade, overcoming the Malays. So it doesn't even fit their time frame of power. Some of the China propagandists try to enter debate in comments here. Don't know why, because they'll never win. Watch us obliterate their anemically weak position on things like this, as ancient China is insignificant compared to Ophir. Philippines, who ruled the South China Sea, the West Philippine Sea actually, and all the area in that era, not China, who did not even have ocean-going vessels until over 500 years after the Filipinos were already showing up in their ports. The fact the world even considers it up for debate that China ever owned these seas, and most especially the Philippines, is truly laughable and simply propaganda. Sorry. And another support, Chinese Huan Dynasty scholar Mei Tuanlin wrote that in 982 AD, Austronesian sailors from the Philippines, whom the Chinese at that time called Moyi or Ma'i, you will find that name in Chinese records several times referring to the Philippines, in fact, or better termed, Ophir. We're already traveling to Canton to trade. This is in 982 AD. In fact, the ancient Philippine ships were called junks, according to Pigafetta, the Italian scholar who traveled with Magellan. And likely, the junk originates in the real leader of the seas in that era, in this area, in ancient times. The Philippines. Let's lay this out on a timeline, especially for those who wish to question the 1000 BC date, which you really can't anymore, for the Philippines mining gold. No one else has this history, including China, and we're just on number 3. So let's see what we have here. In 1000 BC, gold mines existed in the Philippines. That's Solomon's era, the era of the temple. Now we see tons of support for this, but this is absolutely based on a Wikipedia reference. And we set out to test that, and we find that the Greek Christ, the Isles of Gold, to the Greeks, from 800 to 100 BC, were routes picked up from the Phoenicians, which the Greeks inherited, their culture, their language, all of those infusions you'll see in the Greek culture. So that's 800 to 100. Pretty much confirming the 1000 BC, which, all in all, proving that the Philippines is the ancient land of Avila, actually proves it goes much further than that. But let's stick with our timeline. So in 200 BC, Professor Adrian Horridge documents that the Philippines was exporting gold to Sri Lanka and India, of course. So 0 AD, we have Egyptian find, archeology, when Philippine gold has been found there. 200 AD, Philippines traded gold in China. 300 AD, traded in China. The Chinese called it the Isles of Gold. 671 AD, the Chinese pilgrim. Now, before we had the wrong date on this, and we've been able to verify this and really pin this down. 671 AD is the date. And then you also have 982 AD, still Philippines calling this the land of gold. It is a continual pattern. This is not a mystery here, and you just don't see this of other lands. Then when the Muslims came, what did they call this land? The land of gold in 1200 AD. Now, that's just after South Africa, and in fact, especially the Muslims are the ones to record that South Africa had some gold panning in rivers around 1100 AD. That's according to the South African universities and their sources and histories there. Then you have 1884, South Africa has its gold rush. So it's not even in the running here, let's be clear. Then we have 1521 AD, Magellan shows up. You have Pigafetta recording so much about all of the gold mines all over the place in the Philippines. I mean, it's recorded all over. And if he didn't go there, he heard there was gold there in some cases. But even bigger when the Spanish returned. We see tons of records. Oh, there are gold mines there. There are gold mines there. You keep seeing that over and over and over. So there's no doubt that the Philippines has been loaded with gold all along. Now, today, it's number 2 in untapped gold reserves. Therefore, in all of history, it's number 1, because South Africa's already discounted. And there is no other land on earth that can compare to the output of gold in this entire narrative that all ties together. There's some out there that will say, oh, this is confirmation biased. No, this is history, and it vets out really well. Now, initially, we admit, we pulled some of our resources 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago even, when we started this journey. Some were pulled from other websites and blogs, and we're quoting sources, and we quoted them quoting the sources. Certainly that happened. Most YouTube channels do that, and we're not actually embarrassed by that. We're fine that we got that start. But as we've graduated to the next level, right now graduated to the level of publishing a book soon, let's hope. And in doing so, we have been nailing our resources down, our sources especially, to the nth degree. And we're finding that everything in that research generally was just fine, has been all along. And the conclusions are incredibly solid. No one can challenge it successfully. There's bloggers out there that will try, but they will not do so successfully. So the Philippines is number 1 in gold in all of history.
See, there's really no debating the Philippines is the land of gold in all of history. And don't worry, this series will take you all the way back to Genesis 2 and even the land of creation. Yes, we'll get there. Coming next. After just 3 short videos, there really is no doubt that the Philippines is this ancient land of gold, Ophir. And no one else qualifies, nor does anyone have this history, and we have hardly even covered anything yet. It is time this knowledge be restored. For those about to comment in ignorance, yep, we always get them. We dare you to watch Solomon's Gold series by The God Culture, the original channel, to prove the Philippines is in fact Ophir. Even here, we are breaking these into sound bites and clear points, but watch
how all 100 clues tie together in history, the Bible, science, geography, language, etc. And this series will blow you away. Thank you for watching 100 Clues. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the bell. If you wish to skip ahead, go over to the God Culture YouTube channel. Watch their Solomon's Gold series. It's available in English and Tagalog. There will be a link to both on the next screen. We can know this truth. And don't forget to also go to our Facebook and friend us as well. It's a new Facebook. It's only been out at the recording of this video for a few days now. And we already have quite a few followers in just a few days. We can know this truth and be confident. This belongs to the Philippines, and no one can dispute it. Until next time.